last episode, I talked about the astronomy as a possible hobby that I've been exploring. And I got to show you guys some clips from Space Engine, which is a space simulator that really struck a chord with me just due to how involved it is. Now I want to talk about another hobby and or interest that's been piquing my interest lately. And that is the various Chinese medicine stuff like Qigong. For those of you who don't know what Qigong is it's an ancient Chinese, it's kind of like yoga except Chinese, and instead of holding poses, it's performed in more of a dance-like flow sort of pattern. It shares a number of similarities with the Chinese martial art Tai Chi, except that it's not fully a martial art, but rather it's designed more for healing processes. And it's technically a branch of Chinese medicine in that regard. Back when I still lived in Katy, I used to take karate classes at Katy ATA. I found that while I didn't have any problem with the actual learning the moves part of it, there was one instructor that I didn't exactly get along very well with just because of how energetic and pushy she could be at many times. I felt kind of intimidated and overwhelmed by her to the point where the commitment side of it began to outweigh the whole enjoyment, and eventually I quit around, I believe, purple or blue belt, somewhere around there. But Qigong and Tai Chi are altogether different because their focus more is on the relaxation and meditative aspects of them, and they've been referred to as sort of a meditation in motion. Rather than explaining it any further, I figured I might as well show you guys what they actually look like, some moves from each, as well as a couple of other karate and yoga moves that I just happened to like at the time. So the first exercise is called Gather Qi from the Cosmos from Qigong. This exercise is commonly featured in a lot of the routines on the Qigong website I go to, usually done as a warm-up. And it's one of those all-around general Qigong exercises that's supposed to be balancing to do. Next exercise is wave hands like clouds. This is from Tai Chi, but you can also do it as part of Qigong. This exercise can be excellent for getting into what they call the flow state, which is part of what gives your actual results from Qigong rather than just doing the motions correctly. Also see it's very relaxing to do. And then another one of my favorite exercises is draw your bow. You can see you want to visualize that you're like an archer standing with their bow drawn. Feel a little bit of tension throughout that stretch there. The next move I wanted to show is the mountain block from karate. This is one of my favorite moves that I found memorable from the karate days, just because of the name mountain block. There's a close-up of the motion. And another memorable move was the Roundhouse Kick, both the motion as well as the name. Get my leg as high up as some of the experts there. And then next we have the horse stance, which is one of the few Qigong exercises that is actually held like a yoga pose rather than done as a continual motion. It's designed to be a tension sort of meditative stretch, if you want to call it that. Surprisingly tiring. And then we've got Rising Dragon. This is another flowing Qigong move. You want to really envision like you're one of those Chinese dragons kind of swaying and soaring upward through the sky in one continual snaking motion like this. Tree pose is another pose in yoga that I like the name of. I can't hold my balance for very long though, as you'll see here. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't be helpful for me to remember just for that purpose of working on balance. That was about the best I did. Next up is the hook kick from karate. This is done kind of like a roundhouse kick, except you hook your foot backwards to try to strike in a backwards motion. And lastly, I wanted to finish with the fish pose in yoga. This is a simple meditative pose that you can do laying down. Overall, I found Qigong to be very helpful for me. I follow these online practices on a website that I go to, which now also has an app for my cell phone that I can use. It's actually recommended that you practice Qigong out in nature. But the next thing I want to talk about with this project is a very major trip that I got to do in March of 2020. And despite COVID-19 almost canceling it, we still got to do this trip, and I cannot believe it actually happened. In fact, this trip was such a major highlight of my life since moving to Syracuse, and such a big learning opportunity for me that it would seem very wrong if I didn't document it in some form in this project. So tune in next time to see where I go.